If you can find it in you to survive, if you are worthy, then I will make you into something more than them. Something eternal. Apocalypse. When she was 13 years old, Moira fell ill. Her fever was high, unnaturally so, and the doctor's prognosis was not hopeful. The next day, almost miraculously, she was fine, better than ever, right as rain. Years later, she would marry, become a school teacher, and have 3 children, 2 boys, Callum and Dean, and 1 girl, Abigail. They would in turn have 8 children of their own, and to Moira's great joy, once every year the extended family would return home. Moira eventually died at the age of 74 when she passed peacefully away in her sleep. It was a good life, a human life. Predictable, mostly pleasant, and not extraordinary at all. Moira's second life began in utero. It was the womb birth of a fully sentient being who had a perfect recollection of her prior life. You would think being totally aware and trapped inside your mother would lend itself to madness. But the rearing of children, it seems, comes with a certain amount of bliss baked in. Some kind of embryonically induced neuroleptic. Zen via biology. And the truth is, I've never been happier. For our mother is safe, your mother is home. It's the world out there that makes you lose your mind. Shortly after she was born, Moira's parents began to believe that she was special. And she was, just not the way they thought. There was nothing special about Moira, learning to walk, speak, and read early. She was born knowing how to do these things. No, she was special because she was something new, and at the time something few in the world, including herself, had ever seen. Though she did not know it, Moira was a mutant. House of X, Issue 2. The Uncanny Life of Moira 10. Written by Jonathan Hickman. Art by Pepe Larraz. In her early years, Moira had to be careful not to let on what she really was. She had to hide what was going on in a mind that was older than the humans who made her. She knew the pride they had for their special girl would quickly turn into fear if she pulled back the curtain a little too far. But try as she might, it was impossible to completely conceal how different she was. Her teachers began to use words like advanced and clever, which led to other words like brilliant and prodigy, which eventually led to Moira being pushed in the direction of academia, a life of the mind. Moira didn't fight these efforts, as she herself wanted to understand who and what she was, and had exhausted all the possibilities the perspective of her first life offered her. Moira would later attend Oxford University. While there, she met some interesting people, and eventually, after consideration of her unknown condition, concentrated her studies in the areas of psychology and biology. She ran controlled experiments to prove that her memories were not a form of disorder or psychosis. She marked the existence of personal historical markers from her first life and discovered 2 things. If she simply performed her role in events as she did in her previous life, if she was a passive participant, then that event would proceed almost exactly as before. This proved her memories were real. But if she became an active participant, then she could change what happened, and the path of her life would diverge, which you would think would be amazing. Who wouldn't want to fix all these mistakes you'd made in the past? Then again, that was before. I knew what the observer effect was, and that simply by existing and watching, I was already changing everything. And what seemed to be a gift, something of a blessing, wasn't a blessing at all. It was a curse. Meeting the love of your life, already knowing every flaw they possess, along with the knowledge they will never change, destroyed any chance of Moira recreating what she had in her first life. Familiarity breeds contempt, and her once husband could see it in her eyes. There would be no family for Moira in this life. No one to love, no one to be loved by. No children in the yard playing and laughing. And she wondered, damned as she was, if there were others like her in the world, ruining it right alongside her. Then she saw a man on the television, someone she had a faint memory of, someone she met in school. I believe the shadows are no place for angels to hide. So with that in mind, I feel it's finally time to put an end to the masks, an end to hiding our gifts behind secret identities and ill-fitting clothing. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Charles Xavier, also known as Professor X, and I am a mutant." His words echoed in her ears and took root in her heart. Moira knew then she might be a mutant too, and that she had to talk with this man and find out for sure. So Moira jumped on the first flight she could to America and died when her plane crashed into the ocean. In Moira's third life, she aggressively dove into a life of science. She realigned her areas of interest to focus on anthropology and genetics, and actively sought out Charles Xavier when they were both at Oxford. She knew that he was hiding what he was at the time, and pushing ideas that served his own interest, but she was able to use what she learned from him to determine that she was, in fact, a mutant. But the combination of her distaste for her natural abilities, along with the arrogance of Xavier's ideas and what she felt was his thinly disguised God complex, made her fearful of revealing what she was to him. Charles Xavier, Moira decided, wasn't a solution to anything. He, like her, was suffering from a disease. Mutation, you see, is a cancer. And she decided to devote her life to curing the world of it. And after years of research and experimentation, Moira and her team succeeded. She found a way to eliminate that cursed mutant gene. She found her cure. But she never got a chance to use it. She wasn't allowed to. It's interesting. I can't see her at all. I could see the world bending around her, the eddies of change rippling out, but she is just an absence, a hole where there shouldn't be one. A mutant who is invisible to other mutants? It's a defense mechanism of a sort, I suppose, but not much good once you know what you're looking for. Is she looking at me, Raven? She is, and she doesn't look happy. Yes, well, I suppose we've given her a good reason. Then again, we're acting with cause. Listen to me, child. My mutant name is Destiny, and I have the power to see the future, which is tricky with someone like you, since your mutant power is reincarnation. One might think that would be impossible, seeing the future of someone who potentially has a limitless, unending one. But here I am, child. See me. You killed all my friends, everyone. So if you're going to kill me, then just kill me and get it over with. Oh, we're going to do that, but it doesn't do much good if we just have to do it all over again next time. Now listen closely. Destiny has a word for you. Such a gift, knowledge, and yet here you are, using it to betray your own kind. It's a disease, what we are. But I'm not trying to force it on anyone. I'm only trying to cure people who want it. You think this stops at want? You think they'll let you keep this thing you've made? Do you have any idea how much they hate us? The humans will come for you. They'll break you, chain you, and make you their own. Then mankind will use what you've done here to eliminate our entire race. I have seen the potential of your good works, and I do not care for them. How exactly is it that you think you could stop me? I am much older than you are. My powers will manifest full of the knowledge of what we have done. If you once again try to do this evil work against our people, like today, I will see the potential outcome of it and find you. Again. And if you try to kill me before I kill you, I will see my end coming and prevent it. You see, Moira, we are joined together now, you and I. You will know that I am out there, waiting for this version of you. And you, knowing that, have a choice. Change or die. Help your people, or I will annihilate you and all your lives to come.
I think she's still on the fence and needs a bit more encouragement. Very well, here it is. You're a smart woman who's beginning to understand the potential of your power. You're starting to believe that you are in an eternal loop of some kind, that your powers give you a version of immortality. I want you to know they do not.
I see 10 lives, Moira. Maybe 11 if you make the right choices at the end. But that is all. How is that possible? You are born each time with the knowledge of your previous lives, but if you die as a child, before your mutant powers manifest, then you will not reincarnate. You simply end, like everyone else. And what if I don't believe you, or that what you said is true, or that what you want is right? My dear, you're a scientist. You tell me how one would go about proving something like that. I test it, experience it for myself, in my next life. The question is, will you? Will you embrace what you are and help your people instead of hurt them? I, I, I don't know. Let's find out. I don't want to die like this. Dying like this is what a life poorly lived gets you. Pyro? Yes, mother? Burn her. And slowly, so she doesn't forget how dying like this feels. Moira's fourth life began with urgency. She threw herself into fully understanding what she would eventually call the human mutant dilemma. When two aggressive species share the same environment, evolution demands either adaptation or dominance. Moira began to look at the problem beyond her own limited experience and considered the potential benefits of Homo superior. After all, evolution is what gave the world mankind. Perhaps in the coming days, the world would need something more. And in this light, Moira also gave Charles Xavier a second look. She saw beyond the confidence, beyond the arrogance, to what was hidden underneath. A mutant who was determined to make sure his people had a place in the world. He was a mutant with a dream, and over time, it made her love him. So much so that she stood by his side for the rest of their days. Through the gifted years. Through the time of hate and fear. Through the lost decade. Until the very end. When, as destiny had promised, the humans and their extinction machines came for them and all the children. In Moira's fifth life, she decided aggression was the only acceptable response to the violent tendencies of man. Stealing the means from her parents, she ran away from home at the age of 13 and fled to America. There, Moira sought out Charles Xavier almost a full decade before they were supposed to meet. She opened her mind to him for the first time, and he saw all that she had experienced in her first 4 lives. He saw how his dream had failed, and the experience radicalized him. Instead of a school of mutants, he gathered a legion. He built a city full of man's evolutionary betters. And the walls, they held back the outside world of man. Until the machines, Bolivar Trask's adaptive learning machines, came for the mutants again. Moira spent the entirety of her 7th life eradicating the Trask bloodline. Bolivar, Donald, Gwyneth, Simon. Without mercy, without pity, she came for all their children. Then, with blood on her hands and blood in her mouth, Moira learned the darkest truth of all her many lives regarding man's nightmare machines. Artificial intelligence is like fire. It's a discovery, not an invention. All she succeeded in doing was stopping a Trask from being the first human to burn their hand. Like mutants, the machines simply emerge at a certain point during the societal and environmental evolution. And with that, any hope Moira had of her being able to stop them died. And the experience radicalized her. In Moira's 8th life, she left behind the dream of Charles Xavier and embraced the necessary evil of the Master of Magnetism. Moira filled Magneto's mind with stories of future holocausts, another war lost, another people destroyed. Magneto raged and fell to the combined might of Earth's human heroes and the mutants, betrayed by his own kind, fools who believed in a greater human good. And with what she feared was little time left, little lives left, Moira embraced the idea of evolutionary dominance, survival of the fittest. Some thought him a monster, some called him evil. But to Moira, apocalypse was simply the only solution she had not tried. And if the humans wanted a war, if their machines did, then they would give them one without end. And then, after all the lives lost, after the end of all the wars, armed with the knowledge that all the old ways and all the old ways of thinking would never be enough to save her people, she decided to try something truly revolutionary. And in Moira's 10th life, she decided she and Charles Xavier would break all the rules. And I wondered why, sitting there under parted skies and brilliant sun, was this strong man smiling so. I was, wasn't I? Yes. Do you want to know why? I do. Very much so. I was smiling because I have recently had the most wonderful dream of a better world and my place in it. Well, here's the thing, Charles. It's not a dream, if it's real. I'm sorry. Do we know one another? Oh, yes. We go back quite a ways. Who are you? Why don't you read my mind, Charles? Read my mind and see. Ah. I am here. I have always been here. Moira 10.